Good evening, I'm Patricia Vallone with the CTV News Update. Stormy weather is brewing for the Washington region. Byron Scott is standing by with the story.
I'm Byron Scott. Tropical Storm Isaias could strengthen before making landfall in North Carolina tonight. As for our area, we remain under a flood watch through tomorrow night, a flash flood watch. We could see between 3 to 6 inches of rain with higher amounts possible in some areas. Wind gusts of 40+ miles per hour are expected. The county's Department of Emergency Management says make sure you're ready.
Be prepared, stay vigilant. We're gonna have pockets of areas that normally flood. Make sure folks stay away from those flood areas. Do not drive through standing water. If you need to start looking at your house, make sure your drains are unclogged at this time. Just take proactive measures to make sure you're ready for the storm. If you can stay inside, just ride.
Well, Gill says crews will be out before the storm, clearing storm drains. Also, he says tree cutting crews will be on standby. I'm Byron Scott.
Montgomery County officials are banning private schools from holding in-class instruction this fall, drawing anger from the governor. Keisha Butts has the story.
Montgomery County Executive Mark Elrich stands by Health Officer Travis Gale's decision to keep all non-public schools closed until October 1st. The county announced on Friday instead of kids learning in the classrooms, all classes would be held virtually. Elrich said during a press conference this afternoon on Zoom, the decision was not made lightly. Elrich's comments come just days after Governor Larry Hogan wrote on Twitter that he disagreed with the county's decision and says that as long as these schools develop safe plans that follow CDC and state guidelines, they should be empowered to do what's best for their community. During the press conference, Gale said in-person learning is preferred, but the number of cases keeps increasing. He also said that 16% of the new cases in the county are of young people 19 and under. Again, classes for private, religious, and independent schools will be held online at least until October 1st. This is Keisha Butts with CTV News. Back to you.
The coronavirus death toll in Maryland now stands at 3,389. That according to the state health department. Montgomery, Prince George's, and Anne Arundel counties, along with Baltimore City, have the highest death rates. Meantime, the state today reports 870 new COVID cases. A group of landlords across the state is challenging laws that were enacted to protect tenants from rent hikes during the pandemic. The companies, which own more than 2,000 rental units in Baltimore City, Howard County, and Salisbury, are suing their local governments over laws that prohibit them from raising the rent or charging late fees during the state of emergency. The landlords say the laws are unconstitutional. Housing advocates are also sounding the alarm about a looming eviction crisis as thousands of Marylanders are dealing with joblessness and financial insecurity. The new school year is just around the corner from Prince George's. Dr. Monica Goldson says students will be learning virtually for the first and second quarters. To prepare, teachers and administrators have been in online learning workshops for several weeks. Principal Dr. Kendra Hill from Benjamin Tasker Middle School says teachers will have to be creative this fall semester.
The county curriculum, or the scheduled day, has a breakout session day that's specific to making sure students have additional support. You know, there's still small groups that are going on within instruction. That's one of those funny things that we've learned about Zoom and how to do breakout sessions where you can have small groups. We have additional support with staff members that can also do small sessions during the school day. So we've been able to embed some of that additional support within the school day, which is really great. We are at this point not sure if we're going to be able to continue with after school tutoring because we've always been able to do that, and we're hoping that we'll still be able to offer that as an additional resource and support for our students. So that's still a possibility. But a lot of what we're able to do now with the small group sessions is within the school day. So they'll have the staff members and they'll have the resources using Zoom, now that we know how to use all of those wonderful little tools, to do the additional support for them.
Dr. Hill also wants to encourage parents to stay connected to what's happening at Benjamin Tasker Middle by visiting the school website. For more information, visit pgcps.org/BenjaminTasker/. Businesses that don't want to lose their employees during the pandemic can participate in a work-share program offered through the Maryland Department of Labor. Instead of laying off workers, employers can reduce their hours, and the time lost can be substituted with unemployment benefits. The program helps businesses retain their workforce.
As they're returning to the business, they're going to need to return some of the employees that they laid off to work. Some employers may, because they've been closed for several months, may not have a revenue sufficient enough to bring every employee back. And so if they use the work sharing program, they can bring those employees back at a reduced number of hours. And again, we will pay those employees a percentage of the unemployment insurance benefits that they would receive had they been laid off 100%.
Employees also received the extra $600 weekly supplement from the CARES Act, which ended last week. Moore says if that benefit is extended, work-share participants would receive that income as well. Maryland will be reimbursed 100% by the federal government for benefits paid throughout the program. Astronauts complete the first crewed flight of SpaceX capsule after 2 months aboard the International Space Station. It was the first time American astronauts have launched from U.S. soil since the Space Shuttle program was retired in 2011, and the first time on spacecraft owned and operated by a private entity. Astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley splashed down yesterday in the Gulf of Mexico off of Pensacola, Florida.
There's something special about having that capability to launch and bring your own astronauts home. And we went through a lot of years without that capability. And I think we're both super proud to have been just a small part of the team that accomplished bringing those space flights back to the Florida coast and bringing that capability back to America.
SpaceX was founded in 2002 by billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk. His goal is to greatly reduce space transportation costs to enable the colonization of Mars. A Prince George's police officer has been arrested on sexual assault charges. Maryland State Police arrested Corporal Brian Newcomer last night. Newcomer faces several charges, including attempted second-degree rape. He's been suspended without pay. A 5-year veteran with the Anne Arundel County Police Department has been charged with burglary and theft. According to police, Corporal Jacob Miskell responded to a call at a Pasadena home back in April. But authorities say as he left the scene, he allegedly stole personal property, including firearms. Miskell was arrested on Friday and suspended without pay. The Maryland State Board of Education has a new leader. He is Clarence Crawford, an American University professor and a former chief financial officer with the federal government. Crawford was elected board president recently in a unanimous vote. Meantime, Jean Hale, former CEO of a digital learning company, has been named board vice president. We now know the name of the pedestrian who was struck and killed on Route 210 early Sunday morning. He's 60-year-old Kenneth Langley of West Virginia. According to police, 2 vehicles were traveling northbound on Route 210 when they hit Langley about 1 a.m. The 2 drivers remained on the scene. Anyone with information on the incident is asked to contact police. Hyattsville Aging in Place is hosting a special virtual event for seniors. It's called COVID-19 It's Complicated. It will take place this Saturday at 2 p.m. Older adults will have a chance to pose questions to a geriatrician. Hyattsville Aging in Place's Lisa Walker says this period is difficult for seniors.
People who are seniors tend to be fairly isolated in their homes, and this is even more so. A lot of people that I know are not going out at all. We're not driving people to doctors or taking them to events, which we would ordinarily be doing in another situation if the pandemic wasn't here. So we're worried also that people get isolated and feel really cut off from the community.
To register for the event, visit HyattsvilleAgingInPlace.org. Meantime, the organization is also delivering groceries, calling seniors, and providing other services.